Welcome to the It's All Fine and Danjee podcast, where hosts Dan and Angie talk with creatives, small business owners, charities, and all kinds of interesting people. It's all real talk. It's all fine and Danjee.
I just love our little intro.
I do too. It cost me $30 on Fiverr.
Well, that's not very much, and
I know.
we've gotten really good use out of it.
We really have.
You know, we had a really good one when we first started, and the guy's voice was so beautiful, but we changed up like some of the things we were talking about, so we had to we couldn't get him to record another one.
Yeah.
Like his voice was so beautiful.
He sent it back to me. I'm like, hey, can you cut out a little section of it? And he cut it out with the music behind it, so it like jumped. I wanted to layer it, so we said, whatever.
Yeah, even, why'd you do that? How dare you? You're doing this for free.
Right.
Fix it.
As a favor, right. But I have to say, as we get into this, it's really cool to be sitting with guests again. We've taken a little bit of a hiatus, which we have never done until now with the move.
Yeah.
And preparing to move again. So it's very nice to be sitting here now with some guests.
We're getting back in the groove. It makes me happy, you know. So we are actually in, the little town next to our little town that we're living in. We're in Mount Dora, my stomping ground from when I was younger. And we are sitting with Ben and Eve Passmore of Eden Abbey Brewing Community. I had to, double check myself a few times on that because I was going to say company or whatever, but it's community, and I love that.
I didn't even catch that either. I've been saying company, but it's community.
Awkward. You're supposed to know your guests.
That wraps up the show, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next
do
time.
the research. Know who you're talking to. But thank you guys so much for having us. We had a few little reschedules, but we made it happen.
Hooray! Thanks for having us. This is fun.
You're welcome. And we've actually met before. Well, we really chatted with Eve one night when we were in here with a group of family. Mm-hmm. So we chatted with you a little bit that, and I think we said hi to Ben, but I think
I'm usually in my dungeon. I
no,
hide.
You weren't. Yeah. No, they didn't allow you out that night. Yeah. But we met you at Fox Valley Farm and Hop Yard at a Bines and Brews event.
That's right. That was fun.
One of the judges. So for those of you that don't know what Eden Abbey is, it is an amazing little brewery right here in downtown Mount Dora. So blink and you'll miss it, but we're going to talk a little bit about that too, on exactly where you guys are located. And
is it considered downtown where we're at?
Technically, it's uptown.
Okay, fancy.
Look at this.
Moving on up.
I was about to tell all of you to go to Eden Abbey. What did I call it?
Brewing Company.
Brewing Company in downtown Mount Dora. I don't even know where I am right
now. They'd be walking in circles looking for us.
I just say that because when people think downtown, it's like the main little drive down there.
All that stuff down there.
That's kind of what everybody's been like looking for it down there.
And we are within walking distance. And you can get the golf cart guys to bring you on up here to Uptown.
Wait a minute. What? There's golf carts?
Yeah, Mount Dora Transit. They'll pick you up wherever you stand on the corner downtown and bring you up to our brewery and drop you off just for a tip. You don't even have to pay them.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
that actually sounds like a really fun job.
It's
like
perfect.
Just meeting people and chatting.
No idea. Yeah.
Oh yeah, those guys have given us so much of the down low on Mount Dora politics, behind the scenes.
For sure.
Get all the gossip.
You're like, just hang out come on in.
Well, that's what you need to know,
have
I
a
guess.
beer.
Right?
Have a beer. Let's chat a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Get on their good side for sure. Yeah.
That's how you give your tip to them. Here's a beer. Here, let's chat about what's going on. Well,
now go drive.
Yeah, we're very excited to hear your story. So we also have a friend of yours. Well, I call him a friend. We see him not very often, but Joey Meany works for you guys. And
Joey.
So we had Joey came on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right on.
But first he was on with Bailey, who I worked with, his ex-girlfriend. Yep. So he was on with her, and then we're like, well, you have a small business too? Okay, you got to come on too, you know? And so we just love him. He is...
So do we.
Just such the nicest guy. I feel like he'd just do anything for you.
Yeah.
He's been exactly that. We've promoted him, actually. He's one of our managers now. And
he's
like,
awesome.
whatever
I had
the
a
project
clapping
is.
noise right now.
I know, right?
Yeah. Whatever the project is, Joey's on it. He's been amazing.
He seems like the jack of all trades.
Yep.
For sure.
He's like my brother from another mother. Is that right? Because I'm the Jill of all trades. That's why I say that. Like, oh, you need that done? Okay, I'll do it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a very nice guy. And it was right when Joe Grows launched when he was on.
Okay.
And then he was in here when we were in here that night, too. Came out to see us and say hi.
Yeah.
He's very cool.
He's nice. So shout out, Joey.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Joey.
Is that how you guys,
Yes, that's how we call it.
Sometimes. Depends on the time of day.
I'm doing that from now on. He's going to be like, what is going
Why
on?
are you doing
Why is
that
everybody
to me?
doing
Oh my
that?
Gosh. Well, we're excited to hear your story. So just give us a little, I guess, start with a little bit of background, because I'm always interested to know why craft beer? Were you like, home brewer first? Do you just love craft beer? Like, why did you kind of decide to start this business venture with it? What's your background in it?
Okay, so the 5-minute version.
Oh, yeah.
Eve is way better at telling the details of our story. So we lived in the Midwest, and I kind of liked beer for a while.
I like how you said that. You liked it for a while.
Yeah, like I didn't like it growing up because I would just drink it, at a party or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it was
the bottled crap.
yes, the domestic light stuff that shouldn't really be called beer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But the travels that we did overseas. So we moved overseas in 2005 and lived in Southern Europe for 11 years.
Oh,
and
wow.
while we were there, we had many adventures. But the last couple of years we were there, we opened a pub.
Oh, cool.
And I had a very extensive beer collection at this pub. And we had stuff on draft as well. And I really fell in love with Belgian beers and the high quality craft that they are. I mean, the Trappist beers are second to none on the earth, in my opinion. Like, they are God's sweat. Like, it is what
Oh, man.
God would drink. Well, he probably
his
has a
own
brewery.
sweat?
Yeah.
He
Well,
drinks his own
it,
sweat.
Is that a name of a beer? Because it should be.
it will be at
God's
some point.
own
I got to
sweat.
find
It's coming.
But there's a lot of weight on that. So
Yeah,
I gotta make
for
sure
sure.
it's the right beer. But it is a dream of mine to go over there and do a tour of all the Trappist breweries. So those are the monasteries that are breweries. And
I was going to ask, because I'm not
Yeah.
I don't know all the lingo really. I just taste it and go, yep, I like it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and-
That's pretty much what I
But
do.
you do have a good, I mean, not that I'm like an expert either, but I think, I don't want to badmouth the exact name of the beers, but I was very similar. Like, I only drank beer just to party when I was a kid because
Yeah.
it didn't really have any flavor. So I did the same thing, kind of
I
discovered
drink
real
wine
beer.
coolers.
Yeah.
Boone's
yeah.
Farm.
But I think
Zima,
discovering like real
Mad Dog.
beer. Yeah. Oh God. Are you sure you're not from Apopka?
But I'm kind of like the same with Dan. I did not like beer until I discovered craft beer
Yeah.
when we were in North
Yeah.
Carolina.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
So go into, I don't want to skip over this though, because you were talking about the certain types of beer.
That you-
Tappist?
Trappist. So
Trappist.
it's a
is
certain
that? Yeah.
sect of the Catholic Church, the Trappist monks, and they're known for brewing beer, among many other things. But they have several breweries, monasteries that brew in the area of Belgium, France, Holland, and there's actually a couple in the States now that are designated as Trappist breweries. But
Oh, wow.
very, very ancient recipes, yeast that has been passed down for hundreds of years.
I was going to say, is it a verbal pass down or,
Well-
written, but guarded?
Yeah. Well, my understanding is that it was guarded because it was outlawed and those countries were conquered by different countries over the years, But these
interesting.
yeast and recipes survived world wars and all kinds of conquerings, and they still produce the same stuff. So it's, I'm just fascinated by that ancient craft.
Yeah,
Oh, I
that's like a
bet.
very cool history behind it.
Yeah.
Most people think, oh yeah, somebody's just, making this in their house, whatever. But the history behind it, that adds just a little more value to what you're drinking, kind of, I think.
Yeah.
It's like wines, you want to, what's the grape? Oh, what's the soil
Yes.
that it came from? You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's the same kind of thing, though.
For sure. And I just love to geek out on it.
Yeah, that's what I feel like people do with really good beer, though. You know, you search for the flavors in there. That's why you want to know, up front what they are. But I would also think, and I don't know anything about this, but I would think the monks are sort of laser focused on getting it very specifically, exactly a certain way when they brew it, because that's kind of the general mentality of a monk, isn't it? To be
Very
sort of
disciplined, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Do
the
it
right
right.
word. Yeah.
Yeah, and my romantic vision is that there's some guy in a robe and he's bald on the top of his head and he's stirring in this giant vat while he's singing, and doing his chants or whatever. But that's not all it's.
Sounds like a cool beer label, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, it would be a really good
Yeah.
beer
Maybe some
label,
art,
actually.
But
That's,
really,
that's the beer label for God's
Sweat.
Yes, good job. That's right.
Yeah.
There you go. It's done.
Wow, we need to write
We're
that down.
patenting that right now,
Yeah.
by the way.
I can't
listeners.
draw.
it on
I
my
can't
phone.
draw it for you because it'll look like a stick figure with a stick in his hand. But
Well,
there's
that's what Fiverr's
the
for.
idea.
Yeah.
Yes,
Or AI.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, or AI. Yeah.
Right.
Well, that is a cool story, and that you guys owned a pub. Now, why do they call it a pub?
Oh,
See,
that's a
I
fun
should
one.
know all the stuff.
No, this
but
goes
no.
back to that same European tradition. So I think it was more in the UK, but it was where, the monks would put their hands to a craft together at the abbey or the monastery, whatever, and then they would sell the product to the public.
I knew it was public. I figured it was public.
In the public house, they would sell the beer and use the funds from that to take care of the good works of the community. So taking care of the orphans and widows, whatever. They made their money by selling beer in the public house.
Oh my
wow.
gosh! Look at all this history I'm learning
Right.
today. I don't even, who needed to go to high school? Look what I'm learning. I noticed you also said it in the Abbey. What was it? What was that?
Right. So yeah, an abbey is just another name for like a monastery. It's where the monks or the nuns would live essentially and carry out the community life and do the works and have the rhythms of prayer and all the good stuff.
Because I noticed Abbey is in the name of your company, Eden Abbey. Now, I already guessed what Eden Abbey came from. I think it's from your children's names, is it?
Common guess, incorrect.
Oh,
Is it?
incorrect. Oh, so is it from that? From the
Yeah.
Abbey?
Yeah.
Oh, because if you said it was your kids, I was going to say, all right.
And
then is your
Eden-
kid named after the Abbey?
Abbey?
Over there.
Okay, and is Eden from like Garden of Eden?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Oh,
now,
you are
hey.
getting it. You're getting the whole thing.
Oh my gosh.
It's all coming together
It's all
now.
coming together. Do you
wow.
have kids?
Got a
Several.
bunch of
Oh,
kids.
okay.
Yes.
There are definitely 5.
Yeah.
5 children. Okay. 5 children. That's what
Yeah.
I call them.
Yes.
Children.
So when, I know, so you moved back into the States, but was that the idea while you were there? Hey, we're going to move into the States and open something similar to this when we get back?
Not the idea. I think we maintained the dream. We left because of a family tragedy, and so we came back to go through some kind of recuperation. And while we were here, Eve bought me a small kit just for brewing beer because I wanted to keep going with the Belgian beers, which were hard to find in the
Kind of
States.
a joke, really. Like, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, you can't find your expensive,
Here,
really
make it.
difficult
Yeah.
Belgian triple beer. Here you go, baby.
Yeah.
Eve, that kind of backfired on you. Did the whole
Seriously, the
garage?
most expensive
The whole
gift I have
garage.
ever given.
Yeah,
That's right. I mean,
exactly.
the idea was like, you'll save money by making your own. And
This
no.
is my man cave now. The whole entire wing
Oh, it
of
was
the
our
house.
bedroom. We had beer
nice.
bubbling next to my bed.
How
at night, just,
exciting.
like fermenting away.
It's good
Well,
rhythm.
that's not uncommon, though. We've heard that before from people that
From
start
people
breweries
having
that started
a-
at home with a little
the-
kit and
Yep.
then realize you got a passion for it, you're good at it. and
Oh, I thought
wanna-
you were going to say it's not uncommon for people to have it brewing in their bedroom.
No, I
Maybe not. I don't know.
think that's actually fairly common too.
It probably is.
Becomes
actually.
very, very important.
Just the coldest room in the house. That's why.
Oh yeah. So you move back. You decide you're going to start this. I mean, how did it actually become a thing and here? And I know it's sort of a long answer to a short question.
Well, I would say, did you start at like events like Bines and Brews, where you entered a craft beer,
Let people try it, yeah.
home brewing contest, or did you just let friends sample it, family sample it? Like, how did that kind of evolve into something a little more?
Yeah, it was both. So we did enter into some craft festivals or whatever, contests, things like that, did well. But a lot of it came through feedback. And when we came back to the States, we kind of looked around at some empty shops and we were like, gosh, someday we may do the pub thing again. Because it was a lot of fun, but it was also too much.
yeah, a lot of work.
And so our statement was, until we have a good team around us, we'll never do this again.
Yeah.
And so
I think that's a good statement to
Yeah.
have, though.
yeah, and that's made all the difference this time. So we just through trial and error, obsessive nature, refusal to just give in to the disappointment when you make something that doesn't taste good and you think, oh my gosh, I suck at this. You just keep going and going because
Yeah.
it's like gambling almost, I think, where it's like, well, this time it's going to be amazing. And then,
Yeah.
no, this time it's going to be amazing. And so eventually you just start listening to us podcasts and get YouTube University. And eventually we had big parties in our front yard where I'd pull out the 7-tap Keyser to the front of the garage, right? And I had my little 1-barrel brewing system. My whole garage was a brewery, basically. Refrigerators.
Schrader Brow.
Yeah.
I knew he took over somewhere.
Yes.
Well,
2-car garage.
It was kind of the pandemic was what really kicked it off, because it was the first few years after we got back from overseas. You were still working full time at just a different job, and kind of just this was a hobby. It was something you did more on weekends and evenings and stuff like that. But as the demand for the beer increased,
Good sign.
yeah, I mean, people were like, "Oh, can we have it for our kid's wedding in November? Oh, I got a great birthday party coming," that kind of thing. And you were like not able to keep up with people's requests for free beer, obviously.
Yeah, but that's a good sign because nobody wants free bad beer,
Right.
So you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And so
And
then-
we saw so many things, small businesses just blossom from the pandemic. So it was a blessing and a curse.
Well, right. And
Yeah.
for us, we didn't have a small business. So the pandemic happened and your job was suddenly no longer.
I mean, I tell
And
you,
so-
that
Was
we've
your-
heard
was
this
yours?
so many times where the People's Passions Project had became their real job
I know.
because of
So many
the
times.
virus.
Yeah. So that was us. We had the opportunity to spend about the next 6 months in the research and development phase, made our LLC. Our team all kind of did the quarantine thing together, and we did all the brainstorming and coming up with, all the fun sides of that.
How cool is that quarantine beer school, basically?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That does not sound like a bad time.
It was great. So that's why on our logo you see it says established 2020. That's because that was when our LLC was formed. We didn't actually get the doors open up here in Mount Dora until summer 22. So it was a good year and a half to almost 2 years of we were recording other locations. We were down in Kissimmee for a while, and then the location we thought we had there fell through. Of course, Ben loved the Mount Dora area because it's just gorgeous up here, and was always looking. And I was like, we can't go to Mount Dora. Our family, our team, our community is not going to follow us an hour just because they like your beer.
And they did, didn't they? Oh, that's a good sign, too.
There were like 4 other families that sold their homes and moved up here with us.
Oh, wow.
So that's
get this thing off
more.
the ground.
That's more than just a testament to the fact that you guys had a great product. That's a testament to you as
Yeah,
people.
for sure.
As cult leaders, yes.
Yes. Well, hey, whatever it takes. You got to get people to do what you want to do.
We have been accused of it.
It's true. It's true.
But seriously, nobody would do that. You know what I mean? If you guys weren't good people and they, wanted to help support you and be a part of, they saw it. They saw the vision that you were selling, basically. And they're like, yep, we're going to follow them into the trenches of Mount Dora.
I think they just loved Mount Dora and beer. And
They're like,
free
oh,
beer.
good reason. Good reason. Yeah.
If we get free beer for the rest of our lives, we're coming.
I mean, that's an amazing story. I mean, just
No
the
doubt.
just the fact that it developed during that you guys quarantined together. I mean,
Yeah.
you must have liked each other a little bit. I mean, that's good.
Yeah,
You
it's
know.
good. We had
We're
a
surrounded by amazing
great
people.
team, great friends.
Now, were these people that you knew for a long time, or was it, some newer relationships? Was it a mixture?
Funny story. When part of our time in the States, after we left from overseas, I worked at a church in Celebration, Florida, for a couple of
We
years.
don't have to mention names.
Nope. But a lot of our community came from several of us getting fired right before and then as the pandemic kicked off. It was kind of a house cleaning move from the church because, well, there's a lot I could go into. I won't. So we ended up staying connected for the next year, 2 years, and getting a lot closer in friendship. And so that community formed from us meeting there and grew into another community as well that eventually ended up connecting now here in Mount Dora. So we hadn't really known each other more than a couple of years before this all kind of kicked off. But
there was a bond there.
yeah, for sure.
There was a bond
for
for sure.
And there was destiny on it, and there was just a lot of really good connections, really solid connections.
Yeah,
that
things were lining up,
sure.
obviously.
Yeah.
And that kind of brings me back to the in the name community.
Yes.
So it started there, but the craft beer community is literally a community. Like very supportive of each other. And that's what we've noticed anyway.
Yes.
Oh, you got to check out so-and-so. You got to check out that brewery over there. You know, there's no competition.
Right.
I mean, there is when you go to competitions. Let's be honest.
But it's not financially competitive.
But
it's
they're
way more collaborative.
Yeah,
than
very
some-
collaborative. So I love seeing that because that's what we always say. Your success is going to just raise up the more that you help support other small
indeed.
businesses. Like,
For sure.
don't hoard it to yourself
No.
because you're not going to get as much, I promise.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get quality.
Yeah.
So get the quality and spread it all over.
That's a good point.
So I'm kind of walking through the story with you. So you finally decided you're in Mount Dora. You start setting it up. Was it, I mean, I know the place is, we talked a little bit about this before we started recording, but we like have friends that are total beer snobs, connoisseurs, and like Bob, for instance, who says, "Hey, let's meet at Eden Abbey." So it's like it's starting to become known among the people that can appreciate really good beer. Has it been sort of a success right out of the chute, or did you guys have to, work your way into getting people to know that it's here? Are you still kind of having that marketing thing going? Is it?
Yeah. So it's been both and. So in the beginning, we opened July of 2022, and for those first 2 months, it was gangbusters because we were the new hot place. They saw us, they saw the front of the building being developed. They knew that this was happening. We were making relationships and things in the town, and people were very excited and very enthusiastic about us opening. So that was extremely busy when we tried to have a soft opening, and that was just a joke. Like we were overrun. So
It's crazy.
we had to learn on the fly in that respect. So since then, there's definitely been rhythms that we're trying to figure out. Mount Dora is an interesting place because of the snowbird population, and so there's big fluctuations.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that.
In revenue, basically for
And
local
ups
businesses.
and downs. Yeah.
Yeah.
From one weekend to the next, depending on what the festival is, they may or may not make it up the hill to the brewery, or they
Yeah, like a craft festival, art festival. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know we're here. We've noticed that there are some established places in the area that everybody knows it's there, and that's because you see the Facebook chatter, word of mouth, Mount Dora. What's a great place to eat in Mount Dora? And you're like, for a long time, I'm like, well, where are we? But nobody knew we were here. And we still meet people all the time that had no idea we even existed, because I think even though we're on Highland Street here, which is a main artery.
And walking distance, I must say, listener, from downtown, I mean, it's a 5-minute walk.
But if you don't know it's here, it's not necessarily on your path.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, you can't exactly put a sign down there, I guess, either, can you?
We've got a
I have an idea too. Okay, I have an idea. You know those guys that do the golf carts?
We got one.
Okay.
It's on there.
Yeah. Advertisement on the golf cart.
Yeah, we're
We've got
on
a
it.
sign there. We've got a Wayfinder sign. We're working
Follow
on...
me to Eden Abbey.
Yeah. We're working on getting other signage too.
Okay. I thought you were going to say, I was about to go, no, I thought you were going to talk about the guy that spins the arrow around like when houses are for
Well,
sale.
they get a lot of attention.
I have threatened Joey with that.
That's true.
Listen, Joey would do that. Okay,
Yeah, he would.
Joey
He
will.
would dress up as a.
We're gonna dress you up as a beer and-
Like he would totally do it.
Bring
I
it
know
on down to Omelet Land. He'll be on the corner.
I could totally, but that's great that you're starting to,
It's getting there.
because their marketing down there is great downtown, like with the signs pointing, that are very artsy looking, and
Yeah.
it draws your attention when it's kind of branded to the company. So that will be wonderful to have something like
Well,
that.
here's a pro tip for any listeners that want, if they're hanging out downtown on a weekend or whatever, they call the golf cart guys or flag them down. It's Mount Dora Transit. You can look it up. But they actually have some little like gift cards for Eden Abbey. And if you schmooze them, they might give you a gift card while they're dropping you off back up here. So
nice.
That
that's
means
like,
schmooze them, give them a good tip.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll say we've done even recently we've done the thing where you go, we try to do like Eustis, Mount Dora with some friends and kind of bar hop and stuff. But this is, to me, it's very unique having gone to some of the places downtown Mount Dora, which are great, but this place is different than any of those. So it's not like there's another option for a good brewery. I mean, no offense to whatever beers may be down there.
There's Wolf Branch.
Oh, Wolf Branch is great. Yeah,
but we go
like
to
them.
the one in Eustis because
Yes.
it's like walking distance from where we're at.
But you could do like Ma's Mountain Moonshine, Wolf Branch. You could go to the Handlebar, and you could still come here and get a very different experience at
From
all the
all
places.
places.
Yeah,
which-
absolutely.
Which is, I mean, it's great that you don't really have competition down there.
Right. So we're doing a full kitchen, obviously, and we have a full bar. So
I was
we've
gonna
got
ask
wine
about
and
that,
we've got
yeah.
ciders and we've got liquors and stuff like that.
And really good food, I might add. We can get
and
into
amazing
that.
food.
Yeah.
Did you guys, question, did you start with just the craft beers? Like, what did you start with? Did you start with food? Did you start with everything? Like, how did you start?
We opened everything. So the
Okay.
full menu and the brewery side. So we have the tap room, and then our cafe or indoor-outdoor seating in that space is more of like the restaurant sit-down table service space.
Yeah.
And the tap room is more like the bar scene.
And then the best part is the back porch and beer garden.
Yes, it is, because
Yes.
I didn't know that
we
was
didn't even know,
there.
It's gorgeous.
And somebody's like, "Oh, you need to go check out."
We
the-"
could
and
have
I'm
kicked
like,
ourselves. The first time we came here, we sat at the bar, had a couple
Yeah.
of beers, and then I think we had a snack, and then we walked out the back, and I was like, why didn't we come out here this whole time?
It's
amazing.
my favorite spot.
Yeah, it's. I saw that Joey was recently pressure washing the back.
Yeah, it
He
looks really
was.
nice now.
Yeah.
I pay attention. See,
He needs it. Yeah.
But, as we talk about it, it makes more sense to me that it's not called a brewery anyway, because you guys are a restaurant, really, right?
Yeah.
You're a restaurant with a brewery attached to it.
A brew pub.
A
Yeah.
brew
Is
pub,
the
yeah.
technical term.
Yep.
And
I think that's a kind of cool name.
Mm-hmm.
Brew pub.
I say that
Yeah.
because a lot of the time breweries don't have food, or they have
Right.
chips or a pretzel or something. There's no real food there. So that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the better business model for a brewery, is just to be a tap room, because it's a lot easier to manage that, and
Yeah.
there's enough work that goes into just maintaining a business plan for a brewery, let alone attached to a restaurant. So it is a lot of extra work to have the restaurant side, but we
Sure.
knew that because of the community plan, we did not want to alienate non-beer drinkers. We wanted everybody to feel welcome,
Yeah.
that it was a space where families, kids, because we have 2 kids areas,
Yeah.
and you can bring the whole family and not feel like there's only one option.
Yeah, because there's
Yeah.
nothing worse than when you're like just you have no liquor to drink. Like if you
Right.
don't drink beer
Right.
and you're just like, what do I do?
Right.
So it's
Like, what
both
am I doing
sides
while
of it.
you're drinking?
It's both sides. It's
Yeah.
it's 3 sides. There's something for the non-beer drinker if you want liquor or full bar, but also you're not in the bar with a kid. You're
Right.
you're in a
Exactly.
restaurant with a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a good way to think of it.
And
It's
I
a
like
restaurant
how
with a brewery.
yeah, and I feel like it's also thinking about that kind of demographic that we're in, because you said how there's these peaks and valleys of who's traveling to town, and then are you going to have something year round for people that are just kind of here
Yeah.
all the time? So I think that was good thinking
Yeah,
on your
we're
part
seeing
during
a
the
whole lot.
incubation phase of thinking about everything.
Yeah. We're seeing a whole lot more of the young families kind of discovering us
Yeah.
too. I mean, the location used to be Mount Dora Brewing, so we've moved into their old space. And they had a thriving community going here that more matched to the demographic of the owners themselves. And so there was a lot of young families that I think didn't know that it changed hands, and as they start to discover us, they're like, "Oh,
Word
this
of
is great!
mouth.
Now there's a place for our kids." And,
Yeah.
and so we've tried to keep the the fans of the place that were here before, but also wanting to make sure that the people who have doggies and kiddos,
You can bring your
and
dog here?
grandpa and grandma
Oh,
can
yeah.
all show up and enjoy.
Why don't we bring the dog?
We
That's
even
amazing.
have spent grain doggy treats.
I made them from scratch in the kitchen.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
I love that. I love that vibe. So
Yeah,
that,
even
we
ate
like
them.
to bring our dog everywhere.
yeah.
Please do.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize there was a brewery here before, though. So
Yeah.
you guys have basically replaced an older place, or they were closing down, I guess, and you guys started your
Yes.
thing. So you're not really continuing the same place. You started a whole new place.
Whole
and
new
then-
thing. They closed right at the beginning of the pandemic, and they were ready to retire, so it was a good excuse for
Good
them to
timing,
just
yeah.
go and sit on the porch and enjoy. They've been wonderful supporters. The former owners.
Oh, I love
That's
it.
always great when
Yeah.
we hear that. Now, was there a lot of the equipment that you needed here that you didn't have
yes.
to? Oh, okay.
As far as kitchen goes, our kitchen
Okay.
was almost entirely like
Set
turnkey.
up.
We were able to go in there. We've had to make a couple little repairs and stuff like that, but they had everything still running. They had just been waiting for the right people to show up and take over. And then in the brew cellar, Ben did change a number of things out. He wanted to make the system, just update the system a little bit,
Yeah.
and the processes. So we did have to do that. There was quite an investment in that process, but
So the is it called a still? Is that what it is?
That's
Brew
a big
kettle.
moonshime.
You mean
isn't it?
the tanks in the
Is
front
it, I'm
of
thinking
the,
of moonshine.
the
Is that
tap
what I'm
room?
doing? Yeah, those big tanks. What are those called?
Well, that was actually the brew system that was in
Okay.
place before that he was using, and it's an older brew system. It's
It's
beautiful.
so
though.
cool
Yeah,
looking.
I mean,
Like
once you
I'm saying, just
polish
for
it up, the
decoration.
copper- yeah,
Like-
yeah. And it could be a still. Actually, it
Okay.
could be used for distilling, but I decided not to use it
Okay.
and to just polish it up and use
I
it
mean-
as decor.
Oh, it's a
Yeah,
cool,
I love
it's a
the
cool
vibe.
piece, though.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love the vibe in there.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
definitely like it's got that like what's the word I'm trying to say? Industrial
steampunk
kind of
almost,
yeah,
yeah.
like an industrial feel.
Lots
you
of
know?
metal and wood together.
Yes, I love
Yeah.
that. That is a look I like, definitely.
So speaking of, the brewery that was here before, you guys still partner with other breweries sometimes?
You mean like do collaborations?
Yeah.
At this point, we've only talked about it. So I've been in talks with a couple of breweries about collaboration, and our stories are similar. We're just trying to keep up with our own taps.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sometimes it can be a little hard to organize
Oh, yeah, I
a
bet.
collaboration, but we definitely want to.
Yeah.
And that's in a plan right now that we have. We were just at an Oktoberfest festival in Orlando that Ivanhoe Park Brewery puts on. It's a big one.
Yeah.
By the lake there. And we were in a tent right next to another brewery that's in Sanford. And so we were talking about how we could do a fun collab because they also specialize in European style beers, or they at least have a lot of those on tap and they do them well. So it's a fun idea to do a crosstown collaboration like that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because you would have to make sure it meshes up. You know,
Yeah.
the styles mesh up
Yep. And if I want to put my name on something, it's got to
Exactly.
be, kind
to
of
your standard.
yes.
I mean,
are very, very, very high.
hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
We appreciate that
Yes.
because look, I'm actually drinking the beer.
Yeah.
Some of them you just sip a little bit. You know what I mean?
It's very hard for me to sip this
very
one, but
nice.
it's very good.
Yeah, it's very nice.
How many beers do you guys have on tap normally?
Usually we try to max out our space with 12 or 13 of our own, and then we'll have a guest sour, and then I have a hop water on tap.
Wow, that's a large selection to begin with, but what's a guest sour and a hop water?
So the type of beer a sour ale.
Is that like a cider kind of, or a?
No, well, it's often fruited, but no, it's a brewing process that involves bacteria instead of yeast, and it also involves yeast, but you add in bacteria to literally sour the beer, like almost vinegar style, and so it's very tart and for me, a lot of them it's hard for me to drink them. I can appreciate them
But
for
some
what they
people
are.
love
yeah,
'em.
I've tried
People
it.
go
I remember
crazy
trying
over 'em.
them before, and I don't love them.
Yeah,
me
there's a whole group of people for 'em.
Yes.
I bet
Oh,
they're
yeah.
good for you, actually, though. When you talk about the
Possibly.
bacteria in your
Maybe.
gut and all.
Yeah, the gut
Like a
bacteria.
kombucha.
Yeah.
It's an extremely popular style, but I don't really have a big enough brew space to do that because you don't want to cross contaminate.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
And
yeah.
so
Yeah,
I
you have to
haven't
use a whole
ventured into that
dedicated
area at all. Yeah, that's why you have just a guest sour, and it's a dedicated line because once you've got sour on your beer line, you either have to replace the line or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah,
So
because it probably totally alter the taste.
Right,
of
or the
something
beer.
else. Yeah, definitely. How often do you guys change up what's on tap?
well, we have some core styles that we try to keep on all the time, and that's about 6 to 8 of our beers are kind of our core beers, and then I rotate IPAs and different new stuff. I try to, do some fun new things, at least 3 or 4 seasonal or different kinds of beers,
How cool.
as well as our core.
So like when fall comes, you're adding some pumpkin and some
Yeah, like I've got
spice
a
in
pumpkin
there.
on now. I had an Oktoberfest style beer, a fest beer, and I've got another lager that I'm rolling out that's like an autumn lager. So for the month of October, November, we have quite a few like German style and fallish flavors.
Cool.
Nice.
I always like to get the flights because
Yeah, me too.
I always
Well,
what's weird is
Just be honest. You get the flight and you end up liking the darker ones in the flight.
Sure.
it is. I always and
Well, I've converted her. I want
Yeah.
credit for that. I've converted you on beers and on wine. So now we
Yeah.
both drink like the dark beers and the
darkest.
dark wines. So it's
Nice.
the dark
Lovely.
stuff.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is what I like.
real quick though.
But I
what's-
always try. I like, okay,
Oh, I
let me
know.
try that. Or it's a light one. Let me try it. Okay. I could sip that by a pool or something like
Yeah.
a Corona. You know what I mean? Like, but what do I really want to drink is I always go for the darker ones.
We're honest.
you
We're
know?
not as versatile as
Not as
some people
versatile.
as far as the different
No.
ones. But what is hop water though?
Hop water is hop infused water. So
It's
and
that is very healthy for you.
carbonated. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a very simple process, but it's you just let the hops soak in purified water.
So it's like a tincture almost.
It's not that strong, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Not as strong.
I mean, it's super smooth. It's just got that almost like an IPA flavor to it, but you obviously no alcohol.
Yeah.
Just think of it
So-
as like a sparkling water that is slightly floral or slightly citrusy
So
or something.
kids can drink that?
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, what a cool idea.
So they
I
do
never heard
offer
of that.
something for the whole family.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. We got
You see?
mocktails. We got juice. We even got
Nice.
milk back there.
Oh, nice.
He needs some milk.
I've
him
never
some
heard
milk.
of hop water before. That's cool.
It's kind of a new fad. You might
Yeah.
even find some cans in some specialty stores or whatever. It
Well, there's
sells
like
for a lot.
there's like
actually.
CBD water too.
Yeah.
They have-
Yeah.
yeah.
It's very high in antioxidants. It's supposed to lower blood pressure and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I actually try and sell it to people in between drinks when I'm like, oh, this guy's had one too many.
Let's
They're like,
hydrate,
hey, let me
buddy.
get you
Yes.
a hop
Hop
water.
water.
It still kind of tastes like beer.
Oh, that's very clever.
It'll cleanse your palate for the
Yeah,
next drink. You just
exactly.
whatever you got to make up
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
some hydration.
Yeah.
I could see
You
the
know
young
what I mean?
people doing that too. I'm going to have a beer and hop water tonight. In between beer,
Yeah,
hop
beer,
water, beer,
hop
hop
water.
That's what we do.
Hops are actually very beneficial for like your gut health too.
Yes.
If
Oh,
you
they're
do them as a,
fantastic plants, yeah.
tincture, so really good for digestive issues. So see, you should drink more beer, Daniel.
Oh, okay.
That's
Sold.
For your gut.
More IPAs.
Sold. Oh, yeah. He's teasing me about IPAs.
Yeah,
we had
he
that
doesn't
talk.
normally go.
We had the
IPAs.
IPA talk earlier.
So when we came in with the fam one night, you guys were doing live music. So you have lots of live music. But there was game night the night, like everybody was kind of
yeah.
finishing up. You got to have a game night. You guys do trivia. I saw you do like painting and pints.
Oh, we just did
Is that
on
something
Sunday.
new or has that been going on for a while?
Well, we kind of stopped for the summer because it was just so hot, and it's way more fun to do that out on the patio
Yeah.
than inside. So we were kicking it off
Less
again.
mess inside too.
We'll have-
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have another one coming up in November and probably do like a Christmas painting. But yeah, we have a local friend who's a brilliant artist, and she does such a good job of bringing people, walking them through the painting and stuff. But yeah, our trivia is every Wednesday. We've got game nights and live music on Thursday, and then live music through the rest of the weekend, Friday, Saturday, twice on Sunday. We have it
Oh,
to
wow.
go with our Sunday brunch too. So there's literally always something going on. You
Oh,
gotta-
I love it.
Nice.
I really want to try that pints and painting thing. I've never heard of it
Yeah.
with beer before. It's a great idea.
it's
We've done
Yes.
it with wine
fun.
before, but
Yeah.
not with beer. That sounds really good.
Funny story, this last one. I think we only had 9 people sign up for this last one. It was kind of a smaller crowd, but like 7 of the 9 were underage.
Oh, so they didn't even drink because it was just the
It
painting.
was
They
like
had-
a pint of lemonade.
They
or
had
something.
their hot water.
Yeah.
I got my hot water. I'm
That's
good.
right.
I'm going to paint.
But it was
right.
so much fun.
I want to find out who's cooking up the deliciousness in the kitchen
Oh, gosh,
because
yeah.
the food is really good. And I'm picky. I am
Yeah.
really picky with food.
Well, good.
I wish I could remember what we got, but I just remember being very impressed with it. Do you
Well-
remember what we got?
I'm guessing you probably had some empanadas because we always sell the empanadas.
I
You
want to
had
say
like
I
a
had
taco.
tacos of some
Okay, yeah,
kind.
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
tacos.
I had a burger.
Do you guys have
that's
tater
the
tots
best.
too?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes, and I
yes.
had the tater tots.
That is the perfect beer food
Yes.
as a
Yes.
side.
Yeah, our tots, my favorite combination of tots, because we do these things called pilot ups where you can do like a base of, you could do a salad or rice, or you can do tots or fries. And then I'll do that with our like Hawaiian style pulled pork on
top of it.
And
Oh, you're
it's-
killing me
it
right
is
now.
Like
Yeah, they're like
the
loaded
best
tots,
beer
baby.
food.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds
And
amazing.
if you're looking for a good brunch option, Tots of the Morning
Oh, that's
is
your favorite.
fantastic because it's like this bacony kind of topping with
On top of the
Eggs.
tots.
on top
Yeah.
of the tots with eggs cooked to your preference.
And cheese and our beer
cheese and then
cheese.
salsa
and-
What
on
time
it
do you
as
guys
well.
open on Sunday?
For
Noon.
real.
So it's our brunch, but it's noon to 4 on Saturday and Sunday.
Coming here
'Cause-
Sunday.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
down. I'm going to hold you to that, honestly.
Yeah.
No, because we have Bines and Brews, and then
Oh,
your
you're gonna
birthday.
need a little hangover.
Yeah, and his
brunch.
birthday is on Bines and Brews.
Oh my goodness!
Thank you. Thank you.
So
So on the
birthday.
21st,
Yes.
his birthday. That's what we're doing. Bines and Brews.
All right,
And
I'm
the next
saving
day,
you a table Sunday
I'm-
morning.
Okay, we will
We're
be
gonna
here.
come.
I'm
That
hoping
sounds-
tots of the morning, like top of the morning too.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is so cute. Yeah, you guys have super cute names on the menu.
I wish
I'm
I
a
could
very
take
like themed person, so I like when I see kind of themed
Sure.
stuff like that.
The
with
first
cool
6 months of
little
this
names.
podcast was tricky because she would be
I
like,
was trying to theme every
this,
month.
for
I
this
love
next
that.
week, let's make it all about whatever.
It's really hard. That is really hard to do because then you got to find. We were doing a guest a week, and that is really hard to do when
It's a
you're
lot of work. Yeah.
with
when
very specific. It had to be a very specific kind of
Yeah.
yes to fit the theme, and it was
Yeah,
getting.
like
We started stretching it
teachers.
after a while, like Halloween and hops, and then we
Yeah,
We-
that's pretty
yeah.
good.
we
Yeah.
do like
That
a
was good, though.
brewery, and
Yeah.
then we do like the makeup and special effects people
Yeah.
in Winter Park, and try to tie it together or
Oh,
whatever.
I love it. See, creativity loves constraint, so you're just falling into that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I really did like that. It was challenging.
It was tricky.
Doing 4 a month was challenging.
Yeah,
though.
that's a lot.
That was like your whole life.
To be honest, that was
like a
part of the
part-time
reason
job.
we chose the name Eden Abbey, because we're like, we can theme anything around the Garden of Eden, anything biblical
Plants
there. And then the Abbey part, there's all sorts of history there. So you can find names for just about anything.
Oh, that's a great name, by the way, though. I mean, it really is a great
as long
name.
as it somehow connects to any of that.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Knowing kind of where you got it from now, and we did think it was, it's funny because even in the notes, I think Angie guessed where it came from, and you said that's what everybody guesses, but that's not what it was.
Oh, everybody just assumes. Well, and my name is Eve, and they all forget. I mean, a lot of our guests call me Eden.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, because it's such a,
they're doing
so closely
Eve,
related.
Garden of Eden.
Yes.
I just answer to it now.
Nice.
It's fine.
So
Now,
what?
if his name was Adam, it would be totally
I've
that
been
would
working
be-
on
out of this
that.
world.
I've been trying to get him to
Can you
change
do
it.
a name
Never.
change, please?
You should never have done that
so
because
much more convenient.
now before the interview's over, I'm going to go, so Adam,
He'll answer to it.
but in all seriousness, what is the Tasters Guild membership thing? Because I saw that on your website.
Yeah, before we opened in 2022, we had a Founders Guild membership, and that was really fun and exciting. A lot of people did that, and it was like their investment in the opening of the business. And so you buy in, and then you get all these perks and merchandise throughout the year. So the guild membership includes a lot of merchandise, and then discounts on beer, discounts on the private space rental, and private party once a year as well for our guild memberships.
Oh,
And
nice.
This year we're doing beer with the brewer as well. So we did one last week where some guild members sat down with me, and I got to just take them through the brewing process and talk about the
Just
beers and our
completely
history.
nerd out, basically,
Yeah.
is what happens with
That's
that.
really
Basically,
interesting
nerd
for
out,
people
yeah.
that are kind of
Yeah.
maybe trying to get into
Yeah.
it or whatever. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Is
The
that what a
main
lot of it
thing-
is?
And it's a lot of it has to do with more of the fact that you come here a lot anyway, so you might as well be getting discounts
Yeah.
and have your own mug and
Yeah, but no, I
bragging
mean,
rights.
It's something
Is-
you feel special.
is it
like when
also-
you have this mug, you know?
Yeah, for sure. But I like that. But I was thinking when you're walking through the process, there's probably one of two different kinds because some people are interested in doing it. But me, I just like knowing that as the beer drinker. You know, how did you make this? How did it work? Is that what you see? Like both types of. So it's
Yeah.
not always people that are wanting to brew beer.
No.
I would do it for the support. You
No.
would do it for the nerding out.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's
Yeah.
two different types
I'd say
of
it's
people.
more just people that are curious about our story, the backstories, and then how we make what we make.
I think we've seen there's just so many people that are looking for community, and that's a big part of the reason we're doing what we're doing. Obviously, we have a passion for beer, but we really have just a passion for people and connection, and see that as a very powerful tool for healing in the
Yeah.
culture at large. And so with this Inner Sanctum Tasters Guild, we call it, like our goal with, every hour that the taproom doors are open, we're wanting to bring people together and help you to see that your neighbor is probably not quite as scary as Facebook or the news
Or
might have you
weird.
think.
He's not that
even
weird.
if you voted differently or
Yeah.
you worship a little differently
Yeah.
on Sundays or whatever.
Right.
Like we at the core, we're kind of the same, and that's what
we're humans. Like
that's what the community part of it's about. But the Tasters Guild, our mug club, is just kind of a more inner circle of that. So it's people
Yeah.
who are like, they've made this their place. This is where they come. This is where they want to celebrate. These are the people they want to hang out with, and the ones that they come to when they're like, needing a little encouragement. And that's what that mug club is for people who are like wanting to just go a deeper level in
Yeah.
community. And we do a lot of fun stuff. Yeah, as a group, we've got our own little Tasters Guild like Facebook page and stuff like that where people are sharing,
Yeah.
I tried the new beer. Have you tried this one yet? And
Oh, I love it. So it's very it's like reminds me of like Cheers, where everybody knows your name.
Yeah.
It's that kind of vibe.
we may not know everyone's name, but we sure do know our
Yeah.
guild members' name.
Yeah.
Phil
Well, that's what I
would
meant
have
in the
been
guild. Yeah.
Yeah. What I noticed about it is you got that also with their membership, 10% of that is donated to
Yes.
charity.
Yeah.
And I love that you guys are giving back. So tell us a little bit more about like kind of what your goal is overall
right.
for that.
Well, we definitely that is in the DNA of Eden Abbey. So Ben mentioned that we lived overseas for a number of years. What he didn't mention was that was doing nonprofit humanitarian kind of work the whole time. So we were living basically off of the goodwill of people and organizations here in the United States and around the world to do the work that we were doing, refugee work, humanitarian outreach stuff, it just based on people's goodwill. And
Yeah.
then when we came back to the U.S. in 2016, we continued to have some projects overseas that we were working on and supporting, but we found the fundraising side of it to be absolutely exhausting, trying to
Yes.
convince Americans, to part with their hard-earned dollars for our pet projects was like, this isn't going to work.
And there's so many things
There's so
out
many
there.
causes out there and so many
Legit, not legit.
Absolutely.
We had a whole podcast on that.
Yeah.
Like about doing your research and making sure you're giving your
It's
money
real.
to, and that it's going to where it is. They say it's going.
And charity season in general, sadly, we talked about that,
Christmas,
where so many
holidays,
charities do so well for like 3 months,
Yep.
and then everybody forgets
and then
about
you
that.
gotta spread it out.
Yeah.
So we experienced that for a good 15 years or so. And when the beer thing started to take off, the thing we always said was, wouldn't it be great if we could just like do something really normal, like sell beer and let that be what funded our humanitarian charitable works.
Yeah.
And so that's what
I love it.
whole foundation of Eden Abbey is to do this, to be able to sell really good beer, which people will pay top dollar for.
Yes, they
I mean,
will.
We're not even charging that, but we will someday. And then be able to take those proceeds and continue to do the works that we find valuable in our local community and around the world. So with the Tasters Guild membership, which you brought up, yes, we chose 4 different charities with kind of different focuses, but ones that we are relationally connected to. So we
like
know
that. Yep.
every dollar is going toward where it says it's going, because we've been in
nice.
relationship with these people for some of them for 4 decades or more.
Wow.
And so we just let our guild members pick when they bought in which one of those suited their interests, and made sure that went that way.
So
That's
they
great.
pick. Oh, that's nice. So they kind of get to pick where they want to apply.
Of the ones
there.
that we had chosen for that year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very nice.
that's nice. Do you rotate that out? Like one year, all proceeds go to one, or do you kind of sprawl it out?
So no, for each year we had 4,
Oh,
and it
4
was just
each year,
which one,
okay.
and which one they were interested in. So they all got a check once we had closed the guild membership for that year. So we have closed it for this year, but we'll reopen it again at our anniversary next summer. We want to make
Nice.
sure we're keeping it small so that we can continue to know everybody's names
and maintain and keep that close knit,
Yeah.
like your community.
Yeah.
How cool is that? That's a story that most people probably don't know about you guys, that you have, that you're donating to charity very specifically on,
Experiences.
that you guys were doing that overseas already. So it's a big driving force of the whole business here to begin with. Yeah. And you said something that kind of struck me. I'm going to paraphrase you a little bit, but just the community around everyone coming in and seeing people that are maybe the people that but people that are hanging out with each other, and it becomes more of a less of just going to a bar or a restaurant, more of a communal space where people come and see people that they know. And you said something along the lines of it being healing. And I feel like you and I, Angie, have almost discovered that in just meeting people, just the act of
100%, yeah.
talking with each other and, making connections and becoming friends and all that stuff. So I love that. That's huge. And something that's very interesting to find out about your business.
Yeah.
I think when you set out to create a space and your intentions are focused on creating a space for a purpose, that purpose will unfold. And so if your purpose is primarily just to make money and profit, that's the vibe that people are going to get when they go in there. And maybe they agree with that. It's fine because it's a good product or whatever. But our intention to create a space where people come and go deep in relationship and be a blessing to the community, that will happen because the leadership of the organization has a desire to go in this direction, and it will just start to manifest itself in the space. So we experienced that when we had the pub overseas as well. Our intention was just to show value to whoever came in. They're highly valued, they're loved, they're welcome, they're accepted. And we saw just an amazing response from people. And there was a lot of healing. There was a lot of people that came from a dark place and they found peace and acceptance in this space. And even though it was just a pub, they became part of the community. Yeah. And they're still good friends with us
Whereas
today.
they probably needed that, because they didn't have a community. So the fact that they found that's pretty awesome.
I totally agree with you, though. I think the intention, there's a saying, I'm probably going to get it wrong, but it's something like energy grows where intention goes. But you always can tell. You can tell when, you get like a bad vibe, like,
Yeah.
this is the intention behind this is not good or whatever, or it doesn't jive with you maybe. So I couldn't agree more. You can feel it when the intention isn't just to make money off people, or it's, and I would assume that's largely why you've been so successful, besides your great beer and your great food and all that. But, the vibe in there is very friendly. I mean, the first time we ever came in, it was not just because of Joey, but the vibe is...
Well, Joey wasn't even there.
That's right.
When we first, it was the other guy with the beard. And you're like, there's Joey. And I'm like, that's not Joey.
Teasing him.
It was Jason or Ryan.
It was Ryan.
I was teasing. I was going, it's Bizarro Joey. That was an old
what
reference.
world am I in? That's not Joey.
We only hire beer tenders with beards.
With beards. Yeah.
I mean,
so I'm out.
It's kind of the thing right now.
No, I'm just kidding. It just worked out that way.
Yeah, I know. But the
beards
vibe in there,
attract beards.
super friendly and just, very comfortable, friendly vibe in there.
Yeah, definitely.
Glad to hear that. That's encouraging.
Yeah.
So we're actually, before we wrap up, I wanted to mention the little room we're sitting in, because we're not actually in the brewery.
Yeah, not
part.
so little actually.
No, well, not real little, but so you have a little space that you rent out for private events too. That's where we're recording right now.
Yes, absolutely. We call it the vestry, and it's right next door to the
What
tap
does the
room.
vestry mean? I need to know all these definitions today.
So everything has to do with like church history or something like that, because of the whole Eden Abbey theme.
Got it.
But the vestry, I mean, it depends on what church group you're part of, but in the Anglican church, it referred to basically the committee that was tasked with making sure that the decisions of the community stayed in alignment with the vision. And so the vestry is a place that we also use for our own team meeting, our leadership meetings and stuff like that. And so we just gather over here to make sure that, hey, are we still on task with the vision? Are we still doing what we set out to do?
Those team meetings are like very important.
Yeah,
So,
but we use the space for things like baby showers and bridal showers, and we've done funerals and small weddings and music recitals, all sorts of stuff over here. So it's available for
It's a cute
rent.
little space. Yes,
Yeah.
you just have to check this out.
And it's completely separate from the restaurant and bar, so nobody could wander in here from over there.
Exactly.
Which is really
But
nice.
they do.
You do offer.
They really?
They do, yeah.
To the front door?
No, they just
Well, they
come
tug on this
in.
door. There's so many doors in the front of our
Start
business.
beating on the door. No, they don't do that, guys.
That's
They
like-
don't start beating on the door.
No, they do.
When
Maybe
Pete
they
put
do.
the sign up for the vestry, then
stop.
yes, when it says private event space, they no longer pull on the
Signage
door.
helps.
Thanks
Some-
to Pete.
yeah, it does. Because when I got here, Angie said, it's the door to the right of the brewery. And I came and knocked on the door, and then I'm like, texting her, I'm like, nobody's out here. I'm going to try the brewery. And
Just
then
wander into one of the doors.
just follow the beer.
Just follow it. So what's next for you guys as we're kind of wrapping up? Like, what's next for Eden Abbey?
Well, we are in the process of attempting to expand, and that would be basically acquiring. Well, we have acquired the end cap space of this whole block now.
You're going to own it.
Yeah.
You're owning
Nice.
this whole little
The whole
strip.
block.
Okay, cool.
And so that's going to be a special place where we hope to scale up brewing, so we can start some distribution, and then
nice.
also it's going to also have another thing going on there. Which we're kind of trying to keep on the DL until we actually lock
But it
in
will be a
plans.
space that people will be able to
Gather
enjoy.
and enjoy
Yeah,
things.
And continue with the vision.
When it's-
something unique, different than what Mount Dora
yes.
has to offer. Okay,
Something
I
that's
like
not-
it.
There isn't anything really like it here. Yeah.
Okay.
So when the time comes, reach out to us, because we would be super excited to come check it out, and also to maybe give people the inside scoop on the
Absolutely.
launch
It's a
date or
great
whatever it is.
plan.
And even though we'll be in North Carolina, there's
Well,
a
we
lot of
might
people
not
that
be.
travel.
We
back
might not
and
be
forth.
then.
Yeah.
We'll be back quite a bit. So
You're gonna have to- you're gonna have to
I
be
meant
the
living.
snowbirds now.
We're living in North Carolina.
yeah.
We're
Yeah.
coming to visit you there, just FYI.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, my dream. So we turned our home into a Popka into an Airbnb.
Nice.
It's doing very well.
Good.
I want to buy a house that part of the home we can convert into another Airbnb.
She wants to do like the
Brilliant.
basement is the Airbnb.
I have to get him
Love
on
it.
board with it.
And then
because I really
when we
want to
have
be the real
friends-
hostess with the mostest, where
Yes.
I'm there and I like bring you breakfast in the morning.
Oh yes.
I love it.
Well,
Do
can
you
I tell you
want
what's
some chocolate covered strawberries and wine
Yeah.
tonight? I'll make those up for you.
I do.
you know what's
Don't you?
you
Thank
know
you.
what's selling me more than the Airbnb side of it, because I don't know, I just that part's I could adjust, but
like
the
our little
idea
bed
that
and breakfast.
the
It
idea
sounds
that
so
when you have
nice.
your friends into town, because it's so inexpensive to fly up there for the weekend or the week, they have their own little suite.
Exactly.
down there, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I
terrific.
want when I come
That's
to see
very
you.
nice.
Yeah,
It's
that's
what
what
you-
I'm saying.
I'm
Your own little
telling you.
kitchen and your own, it's like
So when you're sick of us, you just get away.
Yeah.
and you have your safe space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And you put the little do not disturb.
It's perfect.
Everything's good.
Perfect.
Don't come down here anymore.
Yeah. Locked it.
Angie, we don't need anything else.
How soon should we book our trip?
And probably now, because it's going to be booked up. I
Yeah.
know it.
Nice.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for sitting with us. What a cool story you have. I miss this. We have to get.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I know
Me
we've
too.
been crazy, like with everything going on, but this is my favorite part. It's just coming and hearing people's stories.
Me too.
You know, hearing the story about how small businesses have just bloomed.
And I would say it was so nice to meet you guys, but we've met before. But it was nice to kind of formally meet
Yeah.
you and
Absolutely.
be able to chat and learn your
Remember
story.
where we
Very
met?
nice.
Yeah.
Ben had a little too many beers.
Yeah, well, I was
one day.
judging. I was constantly drinking.
That was
the
your
whole
job.
time. Yes.
It was literally your job.
How many did you have that day? Like 19?
Yeah.
That might have been
after
like
I
17 or 18.
Yes.
So here's a quick little
That was-
true story. We had this great idea. We have tweaked it for this coming year, but we had this idea that we would interview everyone at the booth as we went, as we're trying the beers. And after about an hour,
Yes.
and me listening to some of the recordings,
Yes.
I'm like, we can't use any of this. So it was
Makes
like-
a lot of sense.
So
Yeah.
bad. This is great.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel bad for the people at the end of the judging session. Like, beers like 15 through 19. Like,
Yeah.
you don't even know anymore.
yeah,
No.
yeah, that was
The
great.
best beer
Right.
I've ever
Yeah.
had.
that tastes good. Oh,
Gotta take a sip of coffee in between or something.
I know.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
All right. Thank you guys so
This
much.
has been
Thank you.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank
this
you.
was fun.
Thank you. And we will see you on Sunday for brunch.
Wonderful.
We have to put it in the calendar so we remember.
All right.
But, we will as soon as
We got your table.
hang up. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in and listening once again this week. We appreciate your support and everything that you do to help It's All Fine and Danjee grow in the
Indeed.
community.
Indeed, we do.
Yeah. And remember, at the end of each and every day, it's,
It's
all
all
fine
fine
and
and
Danjee. Hi guys, we hope you enjoyed the show today. If you did, we would love a review. So make sure to head over to your Apple Podcast app or whatever app you listen to your podcast on and give us a 5-star review. Also, give us a like and a follow on our social media. You can find that all under Fine and Danjee. And if you want to find out more about our guest or about us, head over to fineanddanjee.com.